Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm Len. How you guys doing? And welcome back to yet another Faction Focus Sunday. So let's get into it. Today we are taking a look at one of the Desert Kingdoms, the last one we need to do just yet, and that is the Nabatea. And as the Desert Kingdoms, we still have the minus 7% research rate and the plus 10% morale during battles in the desert, which you're probably going to have a lot of in the early and mid game. As Nabatea, we have the Stonecutters, minus 20% provincial capital and minor settlements main construction cost. That's a lot of words. But that's only like your main settlement, so that is not too impactful. Maybe at tier 3 and 4 you're going to save quite a bit of money. And it says traders plus 50% tariff income from trade agreements. So let's get onto the field and see if that makes any difference in our campaign. Okay, so here we are on the campaign map as Nabatea. As you can see, we start in a 4 settlement province where we own 3 settlements. We have the ability to upgrade one of our cities straight away. And something that immediately comes to mind diplomacy wise is Egypt is friendly. You do have a trade agreement with Egypt. The Kush are pretty friendly. You have a trade agreement with that, and Mine you have a pretty friendly trade agreement with. So you are pretty much surrounded by friendly factions. So your best option is to go either east or north. But however, let's table that for later. As you can see, we start out with 3 friendly factions, 3 trade agreements, 3 cities, and we have an income of 1,000. So, and that is where your hard starting challenge probably is going to come into effect, since you have basically no money, even with three trade agreements and very minor armies. So probably what I would do is just immediately disband this fleet. Saves you like 400 bucks. Maybe get this army into here and get rid of this general. Might save you another 200 bucks. But it's gonna be tough to get your economy going in this barren wasteland of land around you. So if we take a look at expansion, probably your best, easiest expansion is to go towards the Kidri and Gehera. So if you take those 2 settlements, you close in friendly factions like Man and Saba, which makes that you don't have to conquer this entire annoying province, which is like very stretched out. You could backstab Egypt, take your Pome province and just root Egypt out just straight away. Might be an interesting option to consider, since Egypt is a very, very rich province during the game. Your other option is to join Egypt's cause against the Seleucids and try to take over Syria as fast as possible, since Syria is also a pretty decent paying province. Jeez, words are hard sometimes. Sorry for that. So you do have options to expand in rich territory. It's just a question of who do you want to be your friends and who do you want to choose as your enemies in the early game. So let's take a look at our army composition, and honestly when I researched this I was kind of surprised, because every time I faced Nabatea in the campaigns that I played, it's always been early mid game, and they always have like trash armies with just basic stuff like levy spears, levies, and some chariots maybe. But actually as Nabatea, you have pretty decent options in your army. So we have 2 main buildings where our units come from. We have the infantry camps and we have the animal breeder. So let's start with the animal breeder. You have 2 options. This allows you to get some desert calf, pretty decent calf, 45, 25, and decent defense but low armor, so don't let them go into prolonged combat too long. We can get to that towards the exotic animal studs. You get the camel spears, camel archers, not too shabby. And at tier 3 you get the armored camel spears, which have pretty decent stats, decent charge bonus versus large, scare horses, so you're good against calf in the regions. Your more experienced or your more like advanced cav comes from the horse studs, where you get your upgrade towards the Arabian cav, which have a little bit better stats, and yeah, that's basically it. And you get access to desert chariots, which are, in my opinion, pretty crappy, since most of the units now have like precursor javelins. These chariots won't make it like very long or do very much damage until you get actually good in maneuvering them and micromanaging them. At tier 3 you get decent sized cav units. You get armored desert cav, which is just an upgrade. You'll get a little bit less melee attack but a lot more armor and durability out of your units. Desert heavy lancers with a very decent charge bonus, good shock cav 72, and still decent attack units like attack stats. And the Nabatean noble cav, which is a bit of both of best of both worlds. Yeah, still have a 38 charge bonus, but a good amount of attack and weapon damage, decent amount of melee defense and armor, so more prolonged combat for these guys. At tier 4 you get the Hellenic Desert Cataphracts, which I honestly have never seen played by Nabatea in the entire campaigns that I've done so far, which is very decent shock cav, charge bonus 78, good armor, poor melee defense, exactly what you expect from a decent shock cav. And you have the ability to get Scythe Chariots, which is basically your chariot upgrade. Onto the infantry camps. Of course you get like shitty units at tier 1. We do have two options here as well. The Hellenic military camps get you access to desert hoplites, which I think is a very good shout here, with a lot of cav and missile cav in the mix in the east. So you have some sustainability on the field against cav and maybe against even horse archers. Also you get the light peltist, pretty decent unit. And at tier 3 you get the armored desert hoplites, which is just basically the upgrade of your hoplites. And you get thorax pikes. And honestly, I never knew that Nabatea could field pikemen. I've never seen it in the past decade that I have this game. I've never seen Nabatea throw some pikemen into the mix. So I was very surprised to see this. But they're pretty decent. 40, 24, poor melee defense, but a lot of armor. So yeah, pretty decent pike unit actually. And on the other hand, we have the infantry tents, which gives you desert pikes. Again, I didn't know they had pikes. I've never seen them. We have axe warriors, which I've basically never seen. You have Nabatean swordsmen, which are basically never seen in the game. And some skirmishers. At tier 3 you get Nabatean heavy archers, heavy desert spearmen, which is pretty decent upgrade from your normal levy spears. 13, 25, and 49 melee defense. Like 34, 29, 59, 75 armor. These guys are very good as a spearman unit. And of course the noble swordsman. So a very good combination of units unlocking all at once. Good for holding, good for attacking, good for backline and art fire support. And then at tier 4 you get the Palace Guard, which are basically tank of a unit with shield screen, cavalry counter tactics. They have encourage, so they encourage the morale of nearby units, which is a very good one to have with like low tier combination with low tier units, which have basically poor morale. So to my surprise, Nabatea has the ability to field pretty decent sized and pretty varieties of armies and an army composition, which can help you quite a bit against like the desert factions, the more Hellenic style factions, and even the eastern factions over here, to combat basically everything that they throw at you. So I think this is going to be a very fun campaign. You do have to manage your economy quite good in the start of the game, so you're probably going to have to deal with a lot of territory with less units, less armies than your opponents. But once you get through that, and once you get like 2 or 3 of the rich provinces like Egypt, Syria, and maybe something here in Libya, or maybe even this over here, I do think you have a very good base to field a variety of armies that can basically deal with anything that is posted here in the Middle East. As a challenge campaign, I do see the hard starting position and the hard starting initial challenge. Although it does give you the option to take Jerusalem pretty soon, pretty quickly on turn. Basically, you could basically take Jerusalem on turn 1 if you get some mercs. 3 mercs, 6 and 5 is 11. Yeah, gonna be difficult, but you can get this guy to reinforce as well. So within turn 1 you could get Jerusalem, and within 3 or 4 turns you could basically probably get Egypt as well if you don't care about your trade agreements. So with that being said, I think that's most of what I can tell you about the Nabateans. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace!